Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of FHS Podcast. As some of you may know, this year will be the very first time FHS Saudi is launching the Next Gen Investment Forum, which is a dedicated time in the program where we will focus on education within our industry. Today, I am extremely excited to welcome Layla Alamri, Senior Manager in Education, Talent Development, Human Resources from Red Sea Global. Founded in 2017 and wholly owned by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Red Sea Global isn't just redefining luxury tourism. It's pioneering regenerative development at a scale that merges environmental sustainability with deep social impacts. Welcome to our podcast, Leela. Thank you for making the time for us today.
Thank you so much, Sunsrang, for this great opportunity. I'm really glad to be joining you today, and sharing some insights and experience we're having to make life-changing opportunities for the young talent in Saudi Arabia.
I'm very excited to have you. I think we've spoken a few times already, and it's really nice to know that in Saudi Arabia specifically, there's so much focus on education, specifically coming from Red Sea Global. But before we get into that, could you please just give us a quick introduction about yourself and what do you do at Red Sea Global?
Okay, so thank you for the little introduction you shared. So my name is Layla Alamri, Senior Manager at the Education Department under RSG. We are involved in create life-changing opportunities, educational programs that end with employment at RSG destinations. So this allow a lot of young talents to contribute to giga projects like Red Sea in different areas and tracks, particularly in the hospitality industry.
So, I think it's very important that we kind of focus on that side because obviously during Next Gen, we talk a lot about education, and you specifically at RSG have been you have been developing Saudi talents for the luxury hospitality sector. So can you share with us a little bit more on how these program works and how are these local youths what are they learning in order to get to this global standards that we all know about?
I think first I need to emphasize on the fact that RSG hugely invests in the human capability and strongly believe that making an impact to the local community is a key element to the success of its luxury destinations. And this aligns fully with its vision for people and planet. And it also aligns with Saudi 2030 vision, which is expanding vocational education and linking it to the market need. So going back to the question and how these educational programs lead to or empowering them to make them global leaders, I think it has been achieved so far through three main strategies that we always consider. How we design these programs, what is our role as education throughout their educational journey, and what's next? What is after graduation and after employment? So if we go back to the first strategy, how we design these programs. So first, we usually do need analysis for all future jobs that we anticipate the destination needs in different tracks. Again, most importantly, in the hospitality track, since, the Red Sea core business is developing regenerative tourism destination. Of course, there are other supporting tracks like airport services, renewable energy, and so many other tracks. After we identify the need and the future jobs expected to be needed for the destination, we start collaborating with local strategic partners who can deliver these programs as per our standards. So we start doing program curriculum review, study plan review. We share our inputs based on the market or the business needs in terms of the skills required, the training, and the outcomes expected by the time these talents graduate. So we ensure that by the time they graduate, they are even globally competitive in the market. Now the programs have just been put together and we started these programs, I think maybe our core business as education starts, because from day one of these programs, we assign RSG school advisor for each program to be or to look after these talents throughout their learning journey, to work closely hand in hand with the school partners to implement what we call student journey phase. And this is, I think, the key. This is the recipe, because we believe that this is the critical part in the whole story. Uh, Throughout their learning journey, we believe that they really need us as their sponsor, not only to employ them after graduation, but also to mentor them throughout their learning journey and conduct many different activities and sessions that we call student enrichment program, where we expose them to the industry, bring guest speakers from the industry to share their experience, sending them out to different conferences, events, big scale, and maybe even to the smallest one-on-one sessions to support them throughout their journey. And we've been doing this, and we found it very successful approach to enhance their experience and get them ready by the time they graduate. Um, I think also after graduation, or after they successfully complete the program, um, another key part that is, I think, a mandate on us is to look after them after we assign them to their jobs and they are hired. Being full-time employees doesn't mean that we no longer uh, extend support to them. We continue supporting them with more mentorship sessions, professional development sessions, and hear from them about their experience being full-time employees. And we also hear from the employers. So we are trying to connect and see what are the gaps between the training and the employment to more enhance and improve the upcoming programs to have more better outcomes in the future.
I was wondering, maybe you could tell us more about maybe just a few numbers, like how many trainees have you gotten until now, or are you currently, how many, I guess, trainees do you get per session? Maybe a few numbers could be interesting to know.
Definitely. So uh, in 2019, we started with only 120 students studying bachelor degree in international hospitality management. And now we're having more than 2,000 beneficiaries who benefited from the educational programs in different programs: hospitality, tourism security, airport services, health and wellness, tourism operations. We come up with unique educational programs that are maybe not in the kingdom to serve this luxury destination and the needs or the requirements to better run and operate the destinations. More than out of the 2,000, more than 600 talents are now graduates, full-time employees in the destination, different employers, different partners working. I mean, some they completed more than a year and a half as work experience, and the remaining are still pursuing their education in their different programs and schools. And the number is growing year by year.
That's amazing to hear, actually. And do you get students from outside of Saudi Arabia that would like to also learn and train in your programs?
So at this stage, our main focus is on the Saudi talents, particularly, and maybe more specifically on the local talents around the Red Sea project site. And this is part of the social sustainability, by the way, because you really want to empower these young talents who are nearby the project site, right? And ensure that they contribute to the success of their areas through contributing to or working in these giga projects. Usually, we try to allocate or provide opportunities for the local talents nearby the project site, and the remaining opportunities for all talents across the kingdom.
I think it's so important what you're saying, because we are always facing a lot of issues within the industry where the locals actually are not that involved in the actual setup of a destination. So I think the approach that Reds or RSG has is so important, and it's very empowering. Uh, and actually, it goes very much hand in hand in the actual topic that you will be speaking in as a panelist for Next Gen FHS Saudi, how to rebrand the hospitality industry for the local youths. So we will talk about your panel a little bit later on. But my question for you, just thinking about like that, rebranding the hospitality industry because it tends to look a little bit more traditional. Now that you've created all these programs or you're working on these programs, what have been the different challenges that you had to face? And can you share maybe a breakthrough that you've experienced with along the way when you're building all of these programs?
I think there were challenges that we noticed from the beginning when we started creating and launching these programs that we noticed over time started to minimize or decrease, which is really positive. And some other challenges we still face until now. So if we talk about those challenges that we started with, I think I would start with the first one, shifting perception of hospitality careers among local communities. And I can give examples of this challenge because when we started the programs, a lot of maybe I would say families of some of the students or talents that we had in our programs were not convinced in hospitality as education and future career, and they had this perception that, well, we send out our kids to study a major that they just wash dishes or clean rooms. And this impacted the decisions of these young talents who ended up leaving the programs. So this was at the beginning, and we really struggled with maintaining some talents in the hospitality programs specifically. Now we see over time, they more and more uh, got to understand how important this program is, how it contributes to the growing the economy of Saudi Arabia, and they now understand that it is the future of Saudi Arabia, seeing in reality, because back in 2019 we used to talk about Red Sea as a dream. There was nothing on the ground, right? Now people or young talents started to uh, see it reality in the ground, right? And they want to contribute to it more. So it is started to change more and more over time. The perception has started to change positively, and a lot of young talents now are adapting the idea of pursuing education and hospitality. So this was one of the main challenges. We started noticing that there is a lot of shift, not only among young talents, but also among families, because the families themselves also, they started seeing giga projects in Saudi Arabia, welcoming guests from international guests from all around the world, and this is the future. And when we start or launching the programs, we see how insistent some families are to enroll their kids into our programs. They think, and they now started to believe that this is the future, and it is really promising. So we also noticed the shift now compared to 6 or 7 years ago. And I think this is really great for us. It helps us to change the mindset, also not among our talents, but among the community in general. Um, I think there is a lot of examples that maybe I recall when we do interviews to accept some talents into our programs, and we see how their families waiting for them, coming from different cities to attend the interviews and talk to us, even when they know some students, they struggle maybe throughout the program. We see their families talking to us and calling us, please support them, extend support to them, and we we react directly. So we see how not only us supporting our talents to continue and to shine in these programs, but also their families now, they started supporting them as well and helping us to achieve the main goal. Uh, uh, Another challenge is the female representation in our educational programs, specifically the hospitality programs. Uh, we started with 25% female representations, and maybe 6, 7 years ago. Now it started to increase to become more than 44%. And we see numbers of big numbers of female students in our programs, different tracks. In some areas, when you recall, Suntrang, that um, we target specifically the local talents across or nearby the Red Sea project site, right? So, in that area specifically, maybe we still have limited level of English language proficiency. And this is maybe one of the challenges because you want them to contribute and work in these destinations that require high level of English language proficiency, right? Because we welcome international visitors from across the world. Um, and we tackled this challenge or issue by adding English program, specifically or intensive English program before the start of the vocational program or whatever program that we launch, to help them learn and open opportunity for them to reinforce their level of education in English, so they can continue their vocational training journey. So this is still another challenge. However, this does not stop us from bringing them to the programs and allowing them to get the right training that make them the future leaders, hopefully, inshallah.
What have you done anything? I'm just going to go back to the female one because I'm very interested in understanding how that works. I mean, it's always so exciting to see more and more female within the industry and that we're being represented more. Um, did you have to do something specific within your programs? Did you have to change anything to attract more women to your program? Or has it just naturally come about that the industry just became more attractive to them?
Okay, so in the programs, when we do the selection process to select the talents, uh, overall we do a balanced gender distribution and make equal opportunity for both male and female talents. However, when the program starts, um, we do a lot of sessions and activities under student enrichment program, particularly for the female talents, uh, including leadership, maybe workshops, bringing female guest speakers from the industry to talk about their experience and how they became leader, what are the challenges that they encounter throughout the journey. And we also do mentorship sessions for them, prepare them for, especially, some female talents, they come from conservative backgrounds. And in the future, when they finish the programs, they will work in destinations that is open to different cultures, different backgrounds. So we prepare them in these sessions to tackle and react the positive way to these changes and these uh, maybe differences in a positive way, so they do not have this conflict in the culture. So we do a lot of sessions to mentor them and provide them with the needed maybe experiences and stories that they can get inspiration from and apply when they graduate and work in luxury destination.
I think it's so great because you're really putting that mindset of hospitality throughout from the start. So it just kind of, from the start of your career, you're already feeling that support. And I think it's so important for us being so young and starting somewhere so that the family has our back and the school, the program has our back. And then the organization that we work for as well. It's so important. So it must be really, um, empowering for them to feel that support all the way through. That's so great. It's
Yeah.
really good to hear.
Yeah, definitely. It is really great. Yeah, and support.
Yeah. Yeah, it really feels that way. I know that I'm just going to maybe ask you one more question, if that's okay with you. We want to look, let's say, a little bit ahead. I mean, we are trying at FHS to speak more about education, really face all of the different challenges, and then finally find solutions altogether at the Next Gen Forum. And my question for you is just, let's try to look a little further ahead, maybe even to 2030. And what type of changes are you expecting or you would like to see in order to accelerate and ensure that the kingdom remains a global leader in tourism and hospitality?
Well, I think already the changes happening right now in Saudi Arabia on all aspects. And I would say, particularly on the hospitality and tourism aspect, is very promising and very visionary. Uh, we are still eager to see more positive changes. Um, in my view, I mean, we would love to see more maybe luxury, hospitality, education, local institutes in the kingdom to respond to the high demand for the giga projects like Red Sea project. I think yani we envision that or we hope that Saudi Arabia by then would be a global hub for luxury hospitality education.
So too, that sounds great. Well, I don't want to take more time. I think we've packed this episode with so much information already. Thank you so much, Layla, for giving us some of your time. I can't wait to see you in Saudi next week already. And we're going to be discussing more. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I can't wait to see you on the big stage at the Next Gen Forum under the panel of how to rebrand hospitality careers. We are looking forward to welcome everyone else to FHS Saudi. And thank you, Layla, again. And I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you so much, Sunshine, again for this opportunity. And I would really love to take a moment just to appreciate all the full support and empowerment our leadership has extended at RSG, extended to us to enroll thousands of life-changing opportunities in the ground and change the lives of so many young talents. Also, a moment to appreciate the efforts of the education team here at RSG, who are the dynamic engine behind all these programs. So thank you so much for you also, Sunshine.